It started as a game, an innocent curiosity. The window across from ours was always open, offering glimpses into the life of the man who lived there. He never fully closed his curtains, never seemed to mind that we could see into his world. At first, it was just a casual observation how he would sit by the window reading, stretching lazily in the morning sun, or sometimes stand shirtless, drinking coffee, as if he knew we were watching. We never spoke about him out loud, but we both noticed how he lingered by the glass, how he would glance up as if expecting us to be looking. There was something deliberate about it, he knew. Eventually, we stopped pretending we weren't intrigued. One evening, as the sky softened with hues of pink and gold, he did something unexpected. He raised his hand in a slow, casual wave. It was subtle, almost teasing. We exchanged glances, unsure whether to respond, but then he smiled, a slow, knowing curve of his lips that made our hearts skip a beat. We waved back. From then on, the silent game became something more. Every night, he sat by his window at the same time, reading under the warm glow of his lamp. He started leaving little hints, open books positions so we could see the titles, a coffee cup resting on the ledge, as if inviting us to imagine the taste. Once, he left a single red rose in a glass vase right where we couldn't miss it. It became a ritual. Some nights, we stood by our own window, pretending to be busy, but always aware of him. Other nights, we whispered about what he might be thinking, what he wanted from us. There was something intoxicating about it. Unspoken tension stretched between our windows like an invisible thread. Then he took the next step. "Good evening, ladies," his voice called out one night, rich and velvety. We froze. It was the first time we heard him speak. We hesitated before answering, but he made it easy. His laughter was warm, inviting, and before we knew it, we were talking. He introduced himself, Ethan. He told us about his love for poetry, how he preferred to keep his windows open because he hated feeling confined. We told him small things about ourselves, careful not to reveal too much, yet drawn to the way he listened so intently. Every evening after that, we spoke, sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for hours. His voice became familiar, his presence expected. He would compliment us in ways that felt effortless, as though he truly saw us. He was charming without trying, making us feel like we were the only ones who mattered. Then one night, he leaned against his windowsill and said something that changed everything. "I think I'm falling for you." We laughed, assuming it was a joke, but his expression didn't change. He looked at both of us, his gaze steady, unwavering. "No," he said. "I mean it. Both of you." Silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken questions. It was absurd, impossible, yet the way he looked at us made it feel like the most natural thing in the world. "That's not how love works," one of us finally managed to say. "Who says?" he countered. "Love isn't meant to be confined to rules. It's about connection, and I feel it with both of you." We didn't have an answer to that, because deep down, we had felt it too. We tried to brush it off, convincing ourselves that Ethan was simply playing a game, enjoying the attention, the thrill of something unconventional. But as the days passed, his words lingered, settling into the corners of our thoughts, refusing to be ignored. Ethan didn't let the moment fade. He was persistent but never forceful. Every night, he spoke to us with the same warmth, the same effortless charm that had drawn us in from the beginning. He made us feel special, not just as individuals, but together, as if we were part of something rare and extraordinary. He knew exactly what to say to each of us. To one, he spoke of dreams and poetry, of quiet moments that made life meaningful. To the other, he sparked adventure, teasing, challenging, making her laugh in a way that felt effortless. It was impossible not to fall for him. It wasn't long before his presence became a constant in our lives. He started finding small ways to make us feel like we belonged to him. A note left at our doorstep, 2 identical roses with a simple message, "For the ones who make my world complete." A song played on his speaker late at night, lyrics that felt like they were meant only for us. We told ourselves it was ridiculous. This wasn't normal, wasn't how love was supposed to work. And yet, neither of us wanted to walk away. We had spent so much time watching him from a distance, drawn in by his presence. Now, he was inviting us in. One night, he made his intentions clear. "I don't want to choose between you," he admitted, his voice steady. "I love you both differently, but equally. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't want to lose either of you. And if you feel the same way, maybe we don't have to follow the rules the world expects us to." The idea should have shocked us, should have made us turn away. Instead, we found ourselves staring at each other, searching for hesitation, for doubt. But all we saw was the same longing, the same impossible desire. And so, we chose him. The world outside didn't matter. What mattered was the way he made us feel, the way he looked at us like we were the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. He made us believe that love didn't have to fit into a mold, that what we had was real, even if no one else understood it. The day we said yes was surreal. There were no grand ceremonies, no witnesses other than the stars above us. It was quiet, intimate, a moment meant only for the 3 of us. He placed rings on our fingers, whispered promises that felt like poetry. We belonged to him, and in that moment, it felt like the most beautiful love story ever told. For a while, it was perfect. At first, it felt like a dream, something too perfect to be real. Ethan was everything he had promised to be: attentive, loving, devoted. He treated us as if we were his world, never making one feel less than the other. Every morning, he left notes for both of us, small reminders that we mattered to him. He made sure we never questioned our place in his life. But perfection never lasts. It started with small things: missed dinners, late nights, conversations cut short. He still smiled the same way, still whispered sweet words, but something had shifted. There were moments when he seemed distant, his mind elsewhere, even when his body was next to us. Then came the absences. At first, they were easy to excuse: work, errands, unexpected meetings. But soon, they became too frequent to ignore. Hours turned into nights. Explanations became vague. And the warmth that once surrounded us began to cool. We tried to believe it was just a phase, something temporary. But then, the truth revealed itself in the cruelest way. One evening, we saw him across the courtyard, standing by another window, Lydia's. She was our neighbor, a woman we had barely noticed before. But there she was, standing too close to him, laughing the way we once did. Our hearts pounded as we watched, hoping, praying we were wrong. But then he touched her, a hand on her cheek, fingers tracing the curve of her jaw, the same way he had done to us 100 times before. The betrayal hit like a sudden storm, violent and unforgiving. We wanted to believe there was an explanation, that somehow this wasn't what it seemed. But deep down, we knew. Ethan wasn't ours anymore. Confronting him was inevitable. When we demanded the truth, he didn't deny it. He didn't even look ashamed. "I never promised forever," he said, his voice calm, as if this was something we should have expected. "Love changes. People change." The words shattered everything we had built. He had told us we were different, that our love defied the rules. But in the end, we were nothing more than a temporary thrill, a story he had tired of telling. Lydia became his new obsession. And just like that, we were forgotten. The love that once felt endless now seemed foolish, a beautiful illusion that had faded too quickly. He left us behind without hesitation, moving in with her, slipping into a new life as if we had never existed. The man who had made us feel like we were his world had replaced us without a second thought. The pain was unbearable. But even through the heartbreak, one thing became clear: we had given our hearts to someone who never truly deserved them. The days after he left felt empty. The space he once filled, the laughter, the whispered promises, all of it had disappeared, as if it had never been real. We tried to move on, to erase the memories of him, but it wasn't easy. Every corner of our home held a trace of him. Every quiet evening felt incomplete without his voice calling from the window. Lydia had taken our place. And for a while, it seemed like she had won, like she had him, the man who once claimed he couldn't live without us. But just as quickly as he had abandoned us, he did the same to her. It started the same way: small shifts, moments of distance, nights spent away. We watched from our window as Lydia's face grew weary, her once bright eyes now clouded with the same doubt that had plagued us before. She had believed she was different, just as we had. But Ethan was never meant for love that lasted. He only knew how to take until there was nothing left to give. Then one evening, the inevitable happened. A suitcase on the doorstep. Hushed voices. A final goodbye. Lydia stood there, motionless, watching as he walked away without looking back. We should have felt satisfaction, vindication. But all we felt was the weight of understanding. She knocked on our door that night. We didn't need to ask why. She didn't cry, didn't beg for comfort. She simply sat with us in silence, three women, bound by the same betrayal. But Ethan wasn't truly gone. Every night, he was there, watching. His window, the same one where our story had begun, was never truly closed. At first, it was just a feeling, the sensation of being observed. Then we saw him, standing in the same place he had once waved at us, staring as if he longed for what he had lost. It was pathetic, really. The man who had discarded us now haunted the space between our windows, as if hoping we would invite him back in. But we were no longer the same women who had fallen for his empty words. One night, as we stood together, looking back at him, Lydia whispered, "He regrets it." Maybe he did. But it didn't matter, because we didn't. We turned away from the window, leaving him in the darkness just as he had once left us. And this time, we didn't look back.